goodness. Are we
It's us.
really back? Are we
Hi.
really back right now? Yes. We are back. We are back and at it again. I'm getting my handy dandy notebook out because today's going to be a lot of fun. My God, Thea, can you believe it's been 3 weeks since we've done this?
It has. And you know what? This has been kind of cool because we've been refreshed. We've gone through some little bit of colds and stuff like that. Um, but we're doing good. And today's actually a special day in the Vatican. You know that, right?
The Vatican? I mean, I heard something about something
White
going on
smoke
over
came
there.
out. The white smoke came out. And the world has a new pope. 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 He was
Imagine that.
Cardinal Robert Prevost. He's actually from Chicago, USA.
Chi-town? Oh, wow. How interesting. That is very interesting. A lot of conflicting feelings
Right?
when it comes to that. But how do you feel about it?
You know, I think I've spoken about this before, Mijo, is that um, before we used to see Catholic people as, you know, they were the horrible people. Not that they were horrible, but they of how they worship idols and how they had the Virgin Mary and how they, they were so wrong in regards with religion.
Yeah.
And there's some things that I still kind of agree with, but there's some things that I have to say I don't believe that it's nothing different than how La Luz del Mundo is with Nazon.
Yeah.
It's there's nothing different, and but with the big difference is that the Virgin Mary picture does not rape kids.
100%. I mean, they're
You know what I mean?
pretty cute, but yeah.
So
Yeah.
part right there
Yeah.
for me, it's like, hmm, what's the difference? Big difference. So, yeah, I just that part right there, mijo. It just hi everybody. I see everybody on. We're back, guys. But I have to say, mijo, that my kids, my oldest son's junior kids, they both go to Catholic private school,
Yeah.
and I experienced for the first time in my life going to a first communion and also
Really?
confirmation. And when my little girl, she had her first communion. She's in high school now. I stayed outside. I didn't want to go in. Me daba miedo. I was like, me daba miedo pecar. I was afraid of
Yeah.
sin. You know.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Uh-huh.
So I said to myself, you know what? I'm gonna go in and I'm gonna see what this is all about. At that time, all this stuff hadn't came down yet. The whole arrest of Nason and stuff. I was
Yeah.
just in the fear of of going into a Catholic church. Granted, it was a cute little chapel. It wasn't big, and it didn't have
Mhm.
dark. It didn't have all the idols in it. So I went in and I saw my granddaughter walk in, because sus manitas so cute all the way up to the altar, right? And then the priest up in the front gave them the hostia, which is a little piece of bread, and then also gave them the wine. Same at Las
Mhm.
Luz del Mundo, same of a lot of Christian churches,
Yeah.
right? But before they did that, the priest, which was really awesome, he was able to talk to the kids about what they were committing to and what they were doing. And it made me realize it was just like a Santa Cena, just like that.
Mhm.
And so I was like, what's the difference between this and La Santa Cena? That this little kid is, I think at that time she was probably around maybe 8 or 9 years old.
Mhm.
I thought to myself, I was 12 when I got baptized in La Luz del Mundo. Did I know more than her? No. Did I have the Santa Cena? Yes. Did I know what I was committing to? No. Same thing. And that's when it made me realize there's not a big difference between Catholics and La Luz del Mundo. There really
No,
is in regards
not
to
really.
a lot of their beliefs. Like I said, there's the Trinity and all that other stuff that I don't care to get into too much. But at the same token, though, oh, check this out. Read, except the Catholic. Oh wait, let's put the what Rogelio put on. Except the Catholic Church, a pope have not been elected through the anonymous person who had a dream. Exactly. Exactly. Do you remember, Mijo? Do you remember? This is such a great. segue to start our conversation, okay?
Hmm.
And it was meant to be. Um, ¿Te acuerdas, mijo, how they used to ask people if you had a dream, email us, write us,
Yeah,
tell us your
yeah,
dream. Do you remember that?
I do. I do remember that. Yeah.
That of God. If anything, I know that La Luz del Mundo now selects. It's not the apostle that selects the pastores and the diaconos. Is they get voted on now, and the existing cúpula decides who is going to be in it. And there's so much politics amongst that. I know that because I have brother-in-laws that are ministers in the church, and I know that if they don't like you, they'll vote you out.
Yeah. Oh yeah. It's a inner
I know that.
world networking yourself right type of situation.
Right, right. So,
Yeah.
what do you think?
Well, I mean, it's it's interesting, right? I've made friends since I've left, and those friends are of the Catholic faith,
Hmm.
but they don't really push their faith on people. At least this circle of friends do. I've other met others that do push it on you, right? They find ways to sneak it in conversation to kind of gauge you out, right? And that's kind of the like you meet different kinds of people with different acceptances of their faith, and that's very important to say it like that. Not different levels of faith, it's different acceptance, what they choose to accept of their faith and what they don't, right? To
Right,
some, the Pope isn't the end all be all person, and to others he is. I think Rogelio said it himself that some people said that they went 2 weeks without a father, right? So it just how much of the Catholic faith is accepted, right?
right,
Um, but triggering also in the sense of a lot of the stuff that we saw in the cult is it repeats itself in different ways, but you see it, especially in this new selection process, right? This is a time of pain. This is a time of consecration, because we don't know what God's will is for the world, while the world waits for the Pope. And the truth is, the I wasn't waiting for the new Pope, but that language that they use to kind of make it seem like it's bigger than what it actually is. And in all honesty, I think this is the most attention that I see that they get. And then a year, 2 years down the line, it's more about the controversial things that he says or the things that he chooses not to say, right? So it'll be interesting to see what direction the new leadership decides to take. If it's more of the same, great. If not, then it kind of is what it is.
are we talking about religion wise and faith wise?
Uh, almost, almost. I can only speak from my experience, right?
Okay,
And what I see going on right now, there's a lot of similarities in what's
right,
going on with the Catholic faith, right? I think in the biggest one is how much value they're putting into the Pope, right? Because to some people, he is the salvation.
right.
And again, that's the kind of stuff that, okay, well, I know what that's like already. I know what it's like to put your eggs in one basket and say, this is the guy. And it's crazy that they've done it for so long and one dies, and yet you don't see the lies or the inconsistencies in front of you. You know what I'm saying?
You know
You,
what's
you don't see,
it's
go ahead.
crazy noise. As you say that, I think about a religion again and about how they like people can't live with a leader. You notice that? They have
It's
to vote
crazy.
someone in to guide them. If not, they're lost. Why?
That's tough.
Because we have God right here, right next to us. Why do we need someone to be voted into and to lead our church?
And that's what's triggering a little bit, because we know the reasoning that they use.
Right,
It's nothing that they tell us as to why they need someone to represent them. None of that is going to be new to us, because we were saying the same thing. He's our life, he's our salvation, he's our guide. Through him we interpret, God's will. Through him we interpret the doctrine. Through him we understand what God wants us to understand.
I
Uh,
I really believe, Mijo, is that in the Catholic Church, it's more of a tradition. Don't you
yeah,
think?
I mean,
I
eh,
don't. I think in La Luz del
yeah,
Mundo, the difference is the business. Gotta keep the business with the Joaquines.
yeah, yeah. Um, what is it? It's yeah, you're right. It is a tradition because again, I go back to the same friends that I know that don't push their faith on me, and they don't. They only select what makes sense to them
Yeah,
and what they're okay with, right? They're according to their boundaries, right? Because again, and this is just a weird example to use, but let's take revivals for example. You hear the word revivals, and you immediately go back to what? Go back to the temple. You go back to the tears, the crying, the hours on your knees.
like Gloria a Cristo, Gloria a Cristo.
Lord, at
Yes.
least that's not. Who else is doing that? Are they doing that? Probably not. Not to that degree,
Not to
because
that
it
degree.
doesn't.
Apostolic
Because it
vida por
doesn't.
that.
Right.
Yeah,
And it's not. It's because it doesn't fit the tradition,
right.
and because they also know that not a lot of people are going to be comfortable bawling their eyes out in front of other strangers that they don't know. So again, it all goes back to the same things. Again, like you see these things and you're like, okay, this is triggering. I know that to me, this is a lie and I want nothing to do with it.
Right.
But at the same time, you have people that outside of the cult that also believe the same thing. And it just, not my inner friends, right? But you meet people along the way that have this strong faith and you're like, bro, are you in a cult? You good?
Mhm.
You know what I'm saying?
Right. No,
Yeah.
you're right. You're no, you're right. And I think that's what scares us. Um, Pushes us away, I should say, not scare us. Pushes us away from religion, It really does. Sarai is saying something that's so important. It says, I think more than ever, people are watching the Catholics and the Pope because of the world tensions that are currently happening. You're right. That kind of goes back to what you just said earlier, Mijo. It's about what's going to happen, makes me wonder why an American, makes you wonder all that stuff. I don't know. I don't think it had to do with money, but you never know nowadays.
I mean, it would if the current direction of the country goes and the Pope matches that same thing, then sure, maybe. Why not?
Mhm.
But let's not forget that I think when this current leadership was in its original presidency, they butted heads,
Mhm.
but and they had disagreements on one was too radical, one was too extreme, like one was we don't bend the knee to this, but we don't like it was a whole conflict of things, but nothing came of it, which is like, and personally, that's why I say that the selection of the new pope, to me, it's more of a distraction than it is an actual like real world event that that's happening, right? But I also understand that it does affect many people's lives, so I'm not going to pretend that just because to me it's this to me because of the experience I've had, but it's something else to you because of what you've lived, and I understand that.
Again, though, Mijo, is the fact that they have to have a leader, or Catholic Church can evaporate. Igual que la luz del mundo. They need to have an apostle, or the church will evaporate. So, can
Yeah.
you imagine? Hi, Mijo. Yeah. If te imaginas, Mijo, que la Iglesia Católica does not have a pope, what would happen? So, again, I think
Said
it's
the
more
shine bomb
tradition,
would save us.
and it's a need. It's Look at all the people there, in the big square in front of the Vatican, in front of the church. It's like they're waiting for that white smoke to come out and say, we have a new leader. Exactly, 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 like La Luz del Mundo, and how people were waiting or I remember when that was happening, we kind of made a joke out of it, and because I was already out, and we're going. My cousin and I were saying, "When's the white smoke gonna come out?" you know,
Yeah, 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 yeah.
you know. So I really think it's that they need that leader. They need that leader, or else they're lost. People, we're lost. It's kind of like a head of a household, mijo. In my house, even like I'm going to give you an example. When I left the house, I would leave the house sometimes, and my son can testify. He's on here right now. If I walk away for a weekend, guess what happens to my kids? They throw a party. It gets crazy. So they need that
Right.
guidance. They need
Crazy.
that. They need
That's
that.
true. I mean, some people have to have that kind of structure, unfortunately, to be able to have a nice life or to even live a life with some type of order. I get that.
Yeah.
I do. I do. Do
Anyway,
I think it's the answer? No, but I mean, it's what you want to do in this world in that sense, right? But here's my other kicker, right? This is what partially also triggers me. In the Bible, it writes something on the lines of, and please post it in the chat if you know exactly what I'm about to reference. But it says that it's double condemnation for those that guide the sheep down the hole, right? Like, and then even worse for a teacher to teach the teacher to teach other teachers lies, right? So I think about that, and then I think about, you see all this corruption in front of you. You choose not to blame this one person that clearly has the keys to the kingdom in that sense. And someone is going to think, hey, this corrupt person, because of the faith, not his actions, but the faith, is going to heaven. And it's like, wait a minute. By your understanding, the standard that you are held at, you say that if you don't do these actions, if you don't have this faith, then you can't enter the kingdom. But vice versa, and we go back to the same thing inside the cult. The leader does this, teaches lies, creates a system that protects his lies, and then to destroy other lives and teach other people to do the same thing, dies. Yeah, you think he's going to go to heaven, right?
Right.
Like, we conveniently overlook that small little pass by text because there's not a lot of mention of it, but Jesus says it, and then all of a sudden, well, we're not going to talk about that because this isn't the place or the time to really talk about that, right? Because right now it's tiempo de luto, we're all suffering, we're all in pain. Hey, look, it's no one is saying this with hate. No one is saying it with hate. It's just that, come on, like let's not. The whole point was to leave the lie, to live in the truth, not say we're in the truth but believe a lie. Like it's crazy. So all this to say that to anyone that's listening that teaches other people about faith, I strongly urge you to be very smart and wise of what you're teaching, because it's nice to have the recognition, it's nice to have the respect that comes along with being a teacher of teachers, but at the same token, the weight on your shoulders is literal death.
Yeah.
That's the weight on your shoulders. And again, and this is something that the Pope has carried, and then all the cardinals like blow them, right? You see what I'm saying? It's
Right.
When I look at it from that perspective, not as an ex-cult person or someone that's not of that faith, but like strictly, like biblically speaking, I truly fear for the people that teach other people lies and twisted doctrines. Like, I really, really, like, I look at that whole system spiritually speaking, and it's scarier
I agree with you
than
100%.
the things that they've done.
Right. Today I was listening to a little bit of Hermano de East LA. He did a program yesterday regarding Nason's birthday, and he showed some videos of how there's some churches that literally will show they'll either put a poster of Mason in the front of the pulpit, and then they'll have people, they'll pretend like he's walking down the aisle. And imagine that he's really there. And then they also showed another part where where Samuel is walking in and how they're singing to him on the day of his birthday. Literally, Kevin, when I saw that video of Samuel, I hadn't seen a video of him for a while, but I saw that video of Samuel walking in con sus, to everybody and winning like this and winning like this. My stomach turned.
A little churning action, yeah.
Oh my goodness. And I'm dead serious. I don't know if I was more mad, upset, disappointed, disgusted, just thinking how the church looked up to this monster while this monster is raping little girls.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, ugh, it just irks me to the deepest part of my soul, Mijo.
Yeah.
And you know what's really sad is when I saw the video when they're pretending that Nason is walking down the aisle, because this I think this was done yesterday or whatnot or last year, and these little kids are waving. These little kids are waving. So for the people that hear us, for the people that tell us, how can you have been so stupid of staying there in that church for so long and believed it? You know why? Because I was one of those little kids that was going like this. Kevin, you probably were one of those little kids that was going like this. Rogelio, Misael, all you guys were one of those kids that, so we were raised to believe that that man was a man of God when he wasn't. And by the grace of God, we were able to save our soul, get out of there, save our life, and get out of there. Most and foremost.
Yes. Okay. So that is more or less how I feel about the current poping.
Yeah.
And the Pope's not being smoked. Oh, man. Said that one. So you said you wanted to discuss something else past the Pope thing. I'm all ears.
No, go for it.
Okay.
No,
well,
I think I'm good. You know, the reason why I wanted to talk about the situation about the Pope is only because it so reminds me of La Luz del Mundo when they put Mason up.
Yes. Oh yeah, that was something else. Okay, not to go too crazy, right? But we are in May, and May is his birthday. And I'm not sure how far anyone wants us to even talk about what the birthdays were like for him and everything like that. Or maybe you even consider it a waste of time, or maybe it triggers you because you probably gave up the most resources you had and your time and sacrifice during this specific month just to be able to see him in all of his glory, right?
Mm-hmm.
So how do I phrase this one?
Did you ever go to Guadalajara for someone's birthday or Nason's?
I did, but it wasn't in the same way that everyone else did. Like I went with the intentions of serving and doing all that stuff, but because I never did the main prayers, I was more involved in the behind the scenes, not with Berea, but with like for example, like Charola or La Copa for the Holy Supper. Like I was involved. I was in the group that was involved with, working it out and procuring the funds and trying to find out who can make it and how much gold they want it to be this time, how much silver, where he's going to be here in this specific location. Like, is everything behind the scenes ready? Like, is the smoke and mirrors ready, essentially, right? Outside of what Berea did, not only did Berea do a lot of the smoke and mirrors, but there was also many different groups that would support with the smokes and the mirrors. So May reminds me of the times that I spent in La Betel, where I spent a good amount of my final years when I would go to Guadalajara there, because there was a lot of secret stuff going on in preparation for it. And I just remember the how was it? The sleepless nights that we spent getting things ready, and then this is just funny, right? And then basically we would be falling asleep because of staying up all night. And then when it came time for the actual service itself, we were falling asleep. And nos llamaban la atención. And they would correct us, like, hermanos, why are you falling asleep? Blah, 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 blah. And we'd just be like, first of all, may the peace of God be with you. Second of all, we've been working all day. Where do you get off telling me? Like, you lucky God's been with us all night, because if it wasn't for that, I'd te mandaría like con tu mamá or something like that, right? So it brings up a lot of memories about that. Misael says that his stomach turns every time he hears about the pedophile. um that doesn't stop for us. I don't think it's ever going to stop. And I mean, more than your feelings, bro, like I think if anyone is of faith, your salvation. I mean, not I don't even call it salvation, but like your pathway into Christ, right? He was leading you down a dark hole to fall in there and leave you there with maybe God's mercy falling upon your soul and you finding out that it's a cult and you escape, which you did, which congratulations, bro, congratulations.
It's his first time with us, and I want to welcome him.
It's his first time. Well, welcome, Misael, welcome. What we do here, I think I saw your question earlier, is exactly what Rogelio said. We speak of our experiences, kind of break down some of the ideology. We don't get too technical with it in terms of their doctrine. It's more of a platform for you to tell your story and for us to flush it out, which kind of leads me to what I've wanted to really, the main dish, right? So we've been doing this for 5-6 weeks now, more than that, obviously, but since the beginning of the year. Yeah, beginning of the year is really when the channel like came back on. Shout out to Por qué callar si nací gritando. I think that channel had a lot of great content. I think my story and a lot of other great stories are also told there, but it's no longer there, and it is what it is for whatever reason. It's no longer there.
Yeah, I mean, what we wanted to do is, Kevin and I had been kind of brainstorming and talking about it and kind of throwing it back and forth about, what do you think about doing an English podcast? We don't have an English podcast. We did have a podcast one time with a young couple, and I think they're getting active again from Las Vegas. And also, you did some. You've actually been doing a lot on TikTok, Kevin. That's where I actually met you. But we wanted to reach out with English community, especially the younger generation, although I'm one of the old ones, because some of us can understand it better and talk about it better. And so I actually wanted to also, to Kevin, if you don't mind, I kind of wanted to give a little bit of a highlight of the people that we've spoken to and where they are now, and what we learned from them. Like one of the person, I mean, I have to say each one has a different story and touch is different. But one of the most controversial one that I felt in my heart that was a good one was Billy Digno. That really touched me because even in Reddit, some people attacked him and said, "Oh, what do you think about him? He still goes to church and da 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 da." And I thought to myself, you know what? I commend him for having the courage, and that's why we have this channel. Because we want you to come here and tell your story and be honest. We don't want you to come here and pretend. This is what it's all about. Is open your heart, and we love on each other. You know, it's like we're not gonna critique you because you come here and you tell me, I have doubts. Like I actually have a family member of mine that left the cult. And that person told me one time, I still feel kind of guilty sometimes. I still feel like, what if they have that? What if? Am I going to say, I don't want to be part of your family right now? Don't talk to me right now because you're still 1 foot in, 1 foot out, even though they don't go to church anymore. Nope, I'm going to be here for them. no matter what, because
100%.
we all have those feelings. We all go through that. We might not say it out loud, but don't you think, Kevin? Especially when you just leave the cult, you do have that fear of the what if.
What I'll say to that is, we inside of the cult, we took pride in being different, and we built a wall, and we were taught to do that for however long we were there. Subconsciously, that ideology became ingrained into us, right?
Mhm.
So over time, we adopt that as a part of our person. So when we find out that it's a cult and then we leave, and we have the ability, the opportunity to leave clean cut, no family left behind situation,
Mhm.
then we leave. And that experience also comes with a little bit of lack, it should, but sometimes it doesn't, with lack of empathy, right?
Right.
And because of that little bit of lack of empathy, you don't take the time to work on yourself to
Mhm.
realize that to judge someone who's half foot in, half foot out, you're being the same person that you were when you were inside the cult. And that's something that it's a tough pill to swallow, really difficult to wrap your head around, but that's the truth. Is to judge in any way, shape, or form his life, you're you're not doing the same thing. And I want to emphasize that you're not doing the same thing. You are still being that same person you were when you were inside.
Right.
So how can you judge? And if you do, then you're telling me a little bit more about where you're at in your journey than you are about Vilindignos. And I'll
Right.
also add this: I cannot tell you who. He asked anonymousness 100%, but I got a surprise phone call from someone who has who's living the exact same situation as Vilindigno. He sees that it's a lie. Not only does he see that it's a lie, he wants to get out, but his family is deep in it, and he's trying to figure out ways to do that, to get them to see the truth, but without forcing it on
Right.
them. And he called to thank me, letting me know, look, I listened to your channel. A big hug to Tia. And please understand that, don't stop talking. Like, there are many like Vilindigno in in the same situation. Like, there's more of that than of the people that want to leave. But understand, in the grand scheme of things, that is good. It's better than good. It's better than us thinking that they don't hear us.
Right.
What he's telling you is that, hey, we're secretly investigating on our own. That's what they're saying. We're trying to figure this out according to the experience that we're living, right? Which is why I was disappointed when I saw those Reddit posts about Vilindigno. I expressed my disappointment because it was wrong. It was just plain wrong, and it needed to get corrected immediately
Right.
in that
Right.
sense.
And
So
and you know what, Miko? I have to say. Go ahead. I'm sorry. I think you're done.
the only thing I was gonna say is Vilindigno's story is a lot of people's story. So they are rooting for us more than the people that are rooting for them. That's a little hard to, and it hurts to hear that, but it's the truth. Which is why I'm asking anyone that really is triggered by what I just said, take some time to think about it. Just take some time. I'm not trying to offend you. I'm just letting you know, hey, you're not really in a good place if you're saying these kinds of things. Now I'm done. Thank you.
Yeah, and you know what, Mijo, is that first of all, I want to say thank you to that person that told you that is listening to us. And can you imagine? These are just us that we're chatting back and forth. I see all the chats here, with Rogelio and my son, just everybody, talking the very day. I did want to say something to Judith Castillo, real quick before I forget, because I just saw her message and she said that her
Shout out to
family
Judy.
her for 3 years, 3 years, and If I would have been in Texas, I would have voted for you, Judith. I promise.
You
Um,
should have won. You should have won.
no, she should have won. She should have won. What did want to say is that I commend her for it. I commend her for trying to make a difference in the world. First of all, in her community. Second of all, and also within the community of Ex Salud del Mundo. And I commend her also to Mijo that she did so much at the beginning
Yeah,
regarding everything that went on, with the case and stuff like that. But then she said, you know what, I'm gonna focus myself on this now, and she did, and that girl, she's a superwoman, man. I swear, I love her, and just wanted to know, Mika, that you have a friend in us. But going back to the
Oh,
subject of
wait. I want to add that piece to for her.
okay, okay.
Judy, we're happy for you. We're excited for you for what the future has. Not because you make it look easy. It's because we know that you have to work hard to make it look easy. And that is that we understand in part of that. So congratulations. I know it's a lot more hard work ahead. But clearly you have a love and a passion for it, which is what's going to drive you to keep going. So
Right.
congratulations.
One of the things I always tell my kids when they go on job interviews and they don't get the job, I always tell them, take that as an experience. And you're
There's
going
no
to
losing, there's only learning.
yes, we always learn from it. And God has great things for you, Mija, that we're going to turn around and we're going to laugh at this and go, remember, Mija, when you were running for this, and look where you are with this. So, again, we just want to tell you that we're here for you, and that's it. Again, going back to your friend, Mijo, that said that, my a hug back goes back to you, Mijo, and that tells you again how people are listening to us, and we're not here to judge. We're here to receive your stories and to hear you out. And I have to say, Vilindino had some pantalones to really be
Yeah,
honest. He was
be
honest.
honest. Yep. To be honest. Yep.
That Rogelio said that he also has a good friend that is a close friend that is in the same situation. I'm telling you, there's a lot of people that still go to church because of their loved one still being there. And he said something that for me, maybe other people didn't get it. I got it. He said, what if the house was burning? Would you run away and leave your family there? Or would you stay there and rescue them? And I get it. So, anyway, I just thought that was awesome. And then go ahead.
No, that's
Okay.
no.
Um,
His story is, I think, it drew a lot of attention to what we were doing,
mhm.
and we thank him for that. I would love to have him back on again. I mean, only because if there's people, there are a lot more like him in that situation that they want to hear from someone like him, right? Or someone else that's going to a similar situation. It's easy for me to say, I sympathize with you. I'm not living your life. I'm not living that. So if he ever wants to come on again, if anyone has a story that feels the same way, I can make you anonymous. I can cover your face, voice changer. I can do all of that stuff. And trust me, they won't be. I work in IT. You're good. You're
Right.
good. Okay, you're good.
Hey, real
So
quick,
come
Rogelio
on
just
over.
just said congratulations to Judith about the new baby. So see, there's a reason. Congratulations, because that is great news. Great news. Um, Also, too, I just wanted to again, Mijo, going back to our previous guest that we've had, um, La Rebelde, that girl,
Rebelde, alma rebelde.
Alma Rebelde. I love the fact. One thing I admire of her, she does not like drama. Same as Rogelio. They go into any and everyone's podcast and backs everybody up, and they support everyone's podcast. I think that's wonderful. That says a lot about you, Rogelio, and that says a lot about you, Rebelde. And we love you guys for that. It's like just being there
Thank
supporting
you for your
everybody.
support.
That's
Yeah.
beautiful, and you're much
Yeah.
appreciated. Um, Sarai's story about her with the choir, one of the things that I have to say, Kevin, is you were choir director. So
Mm-hmm.
was that Sarai, and very involved in choir. And for me, I think about it. That's a community. That's
Was.
friends.
Yeah, it
That's
was.
friends that you lost. And I commend you, Miko, for you guys walking away from everything and losing those friends. Do you still have them as friends, or yeah, no?
No, not at all. But I think I said it before, um, and it's just I'm gonna say this, and I'm not saying it with the intention of anyone believing that it was a dream from God or any of the. No, I'm a believer that if it's an actual message from God, it's a repetitive message that just doesn't stop. But then other times you have one-offs, you have one-off dreams and stuff. And in this one, I had a dream about the choir, and I was already outside, and they were all lined up in their uniforms getting ready to sing, and we ended up meeting each other in this dream. And instead of me running away, which is a feeling that I had, I wanted to run away from them, not because I was afraid of them, but because I didn't want to deal with talking with them and their judgment. Instead, the new director, who I had appointed before I left, asked me, "Hey, why did you leave? We miss you. You hurt us when you left." Right? Now, Sarah knows, like, to be in choir for as long as we were and to even become a director, like, you had to have some type of love and a passion for it. So when that new director told me that in the dream, I was hurt. I felt that hurt. I did. I felt the like, if people that I loved for so long and helped even raise and mold them to be better versions of themselves, for them to say, "You hurt us," like, of course I felt that. And they gave me the opportunity to talk to them, to tell
Mhm.
them what I felt, why I left, why they should leave, but that I would never force this on them. And it was just a mutual parting that we had in my dream, right? So I see that I got lucky in that sense, but not everyone gets lucky. And then Sara, which was also going to lead me to the flip side of the coin. Choir was toxic. You
Mhm.
were forced to work with people that, well, I mean, I'm going to say it flat out. You were
Gaslighting. I love
forced
that.
to work with people, and yeah, that could not sing. Just flat out could not sing.
I
But
remember
for the
that.
life of them,
I
they
would
thought
go
that
up
they
there with my
could sing,
ear.
which I did it too. So you
Mhm.
wouldn't feel bad about your faith, and that I wasn't an obstacle to your faith. I would gaslight you. I will tell you everything's gonna be okay. I'll tell you that, hey, all you have to do is control your volume, when in reality, you should just not be in here.
Hum
That's
it.
just you
Hum it.
just
Can
yeah.
you hum it?
And like when you just the idea of figuring out a way to
Uh,
tell someone, please sing a lot quieter, was
like
offensive.
they wanted to oversing.
Yes, they wanted to, that's exactly what they wanted, to oversing and do these ad libs and go on these croons and runs. And like, first of all, one, we're not singing R&B. There's no soloist part. This is
Oh,
a group thing. So there was that, but then you had the toxic inner culture of the directors, and can whoever kissed boot the best. What, it didn't matter how much talent you had, if you had prestige, if you were the son of somebody, if you're the relative, if you knew this person, if you knew that person, like, that stuff existed in a heavy, heavy way, right? And their excuse was brigade of the spirit of Christ made them. God made you. He didn't give you the ability to sing. He told you to go do something else. But
mhm.
you want to be, you don't want to listen to him. That's your fault. So yeah, Sarah has a wonderful story, and what I love the most is someone like me. I have found love and passion in singing karaoke songs and making them my own, and singing. Like, I have a whole sound system. I worked in sound. I built my own sound system at home. I sing. Hi, Hector. I do all of that. But Sarah, she's inspiring because not only did she leave that place, which is already a difficult thing to do, and as a woman, but to also join a true choir, like, where you will get rejected for even trying to sing ugly. They'll just send your little ugly singing face out the way. I'm thinking of specific people when I say that. I don't mean anyone that can't sing on this chat, that I'm thinking about you. I just have these two little, like, they would call them las hermanas, uh, las jilguerías, las jilgueras. or something like that. If you know quiénes son Jilguerillas, they're two sisters that would sing in Mexico. Oh man, but they sang okay, but imagine not being able to even sing like that. But sing like that. Like it's nasty, right? That's to them I'm directing that phrase, right? But she's inspiring and joining a real choir.
Hey,
Like
Kevin, one
just
of these days, I'm gonna have to share a video. So, my uncle Hector was on Mopar, Luis Carlos Reyes,
yeah.
the other day,
Hmm.
and talking about my tío Sergio. He was talking about the difference of 30, 40 years ago when he left the cult and the how his life has changed now. And he was saying how we get together like at least once a month of the Familia Mesa, and we're like 50 of us that left the
Yeah.
cult. And every time we get together, guess what we do? Karaoke. And I gotta tell
Hey.
my cousin Hector, he used to be the choir director in San Bernardino. And I'm gonna give his name because everybody knows about him already, and everybody has disowned him because he talks to me. So I don't give a crap anymore if they hear his name or anything like that. He left the cult, and along with his wife, and he's blessed with these three beautiful children that he has, babies. Unfortunately, his kids, except for one, they don't talk to him. And but anyway, what it's gonna say is he has a beautiful voice. He sings
Yeah.
like Vicente Fernandez when he does his karaoke. And
Nice.
and then my cousin Mali comes in and she sings like Rocío Dúrcal. And we're talking about gifts. Beautiful voices. I mean, like I said, I'm going to share with you one time the videos so that you can hear them sing. And it's so much fun. Like you said, it's so much fun. And there's nothing wrong with it. There's no sin because
Mm-mm.
my another cousin of mine that is still in the cult, which is his brother, every year when Samuel was alive, he would pretend to be Juan Gabriel and he would sing his songs like Juan Gabriel
Yeah.
and would act like Juan Gabriel to
Oh
make
my goodness.
not Samuel, the apostle happy. They would do all this comedy
Yeah,
show,
I'm sure he did make him happy with that impression.
right? And I have to say, my cousin has the gift of singing just like him and walking just like him. It was hilarious. But what I'm saying that is
I
that
wouldn't call that one a gift to walk like Juanga. Or just say it's not a gift.
I
He
have videos
learned
of
for
that.
Samuel to do
Right.
that.
I have videos of that. I have videos of that. But
Oh
what I'm
god.
saying though is that back in the days, it was cool to do that. It was okay to do that porque
It
le
was, yeah.
estás trayendo la alegría al siervo de
Yep.
Dios. But you can't do it right now. Again, we have so much fun now doing it as a family, as family out of La Luz del Mundo. We have
Yes.
blast doing that together. And you know, um, Sarah was just saying right now. I have my friends at the what is it again? Not choir, but where did she in the what did she say she was in? Help me out, Sarah. What is she singing in where she's at? She said something in the not the orchestra, but the okay. She'll remind me. Okay, Sarah. What do you?
That, oh my god, could you imagine having, I mean, first of all, I'm gonna say it, David Mosqueda, like not Mosqueda, but
Oh,
Mendoza,
the sympathy
having
chorus.
him talk about his story. Oh my goodness, oh man, his story would be something else. And then there's Eli, and then there's who else? Avisaí Ventura. Oh, if I could get, he's crazy by the way, in a funny way. Have you ever met him?
No.
I don't mean to be like I don't want to make it like a gossipy thing, but I've met him a couple of times and
Who are you talking about?
Avisaí Ventura.
Oh no.
Oh, okay.
Who is he?
He
Is
was
he?
a. Do you remember? This would have been in your time in there. Viejo amigo, como ayer hoy vengo a ti, como ayer cuando partí sin meditar. Really, that was like a big like
I've been out for a
song
while.
in the late '90s, early
Probably
2000s. Did you
kind
leave
of,
in the '90s?
yeah. I was.
You
I
would have
left.
left in the '90s.
Well, I was in church in the '90s, but I was kind of like con un pie adentro y pie afuera, so I wasn't really very involved anymore. So yeah, I wasn't.
Okay. Well, he had a cassette, and he was always like he was plagiarizing Rolling Stones and Marco Antonio Solis type like singing and the music.
Mhm.
and he was like just adding like lyrics for the church and stuff like that. But I'm saying this because, and by the way, Sarah says Houston Symphony Chorus is,
Yes, that's what it was.
but but she makes a good point. Like it would be interesting to have like artists from there to talk about their experiences. Like how do you, well, outside of possible abuse, right? Because that would, they would have to be comfortable talking about it. But like, how do you sing a concert when you're not allowed to do anything, like no movement? Like it was just, it's weird. I saw a video on TikTok the other day. I guess he's like a new upcoming artist. Ali, I think is his name. And he's singing and he looks so awkward singing his songs, and you can hear the like the women like singing like his canto back, like, you know, he just looks so like awkward. And we never got to see that during our time, like at least my time there. Like it was just starting, right? Like Andres Canales is another one.
Mhm.
They were just starting to do concerts and stuff like that. But before that, like it was nothing, you know, it was nothing like that. So it's just, I'd like to actually have an artist one of these days actually come on and stuff to talk about their story.
That's
Oh, you
amazing.
have exceptions. There you go. You have exception. Oh, you do have exceptions. That's right. You have to have it like el credencial or something like that.
Oh yeah, you have to be approved.
Yeah, it had to
I
be
know that.
approved.
Even for Santa Cena, you have to be approved to sing.
That's true. Okay, so wrap up time. We have about 9 minutes left right now.
Wrap up time. I'm so fast.
So it goes fast. It goes fast. There's obviously Rogelio's story, which is
Yes,
I think we'll talk about that one Monday, and then there's Ex Obrera's story, which is I think something else,
that
right?
is
Because
me.
her
Yes.
every episode that, at least for Ex Obrera, has been something that anyone can watch and truly gain understanding about what it's like in one area. Oh, but is it the same thing everywhere? Yes and no. And here's how, right? So her story is it's wow, like just so impactful. Um so far, let's only focus on the two that we've spoken about, right? Or no, three. I'm sorry, three. Okay. Your main takeaways from Bilindigno's story. Like if you could sum it up in one sentence, what would you say?
I'm in, but I'm out.
I'm in, but I'm out. And that's okay. That is okay.
I'm only saying I'm in because physically he's in there, but mentally and in his heart he's out.
He's out. 100%. And there's a lot to say about that.
Yeah.
Okay. Then we have Alma Rebelde's story. What are your main takeaways of hers?
You know what I love about her is that she's not bitter.
No, she's not.
She's a happy camper. So is Rogelio. And I love that. It's like, it's like those two. I love that.
Rogelio, that's tough. That's
But
tough. Thank you for sharing that. That's tough.
yes. But that's what I love about Rebelde is that she is not bitter. It's like, oh my gosh, I love you for that, Mia. And you know what? One thing I have to say about changing now to Rogelio,
Hmm.
I love his heart.
Love is hard.
Not that I'm trying to bring him down as a man, but I have to say that's one thing that I love about my husband. It's okay to cry.
Yep.
It's okay. And Rogelio, ah, you touched my heart when I saw you like that, and it's like, oh, I wish it could be an honor in our lives that we have, but um, you know, we took some time off because of, like I said, I've been dealing with a sciatic nerve, and you had some cold at home, but we're back, we're strong, and just wanted you guys to know that we're here for you guys, and we want to continue with this podcast because um, so many things have happened ever since. I might even add have my son on. Did you see what my son said real quick? I was
No,
talking I was talking about when we leave, when the household person leaves, like mom leaves the house, and what
oh, the party.
he
Yeah.
said that he had avivamientos at the house.
Hey, yo, that's funny. That's funny. That's actually
Yeah,
very
yes.
funny.
But
Uh,
anyway,
my
go ahead.
main takeaways. Bilindigno, we're with you.
Mhm.
We're with you because we know better. And
Yes.
that's what I'll say about that. And I'll add, if anyone is going through something similar, hit me up. Like my info Fig Tree podcast. Hit me up on TikTok. Hit us up on YouTube. You have a story to tell. I'll make you anonymous. You wouldn't even have to appear on screen. They'll just hear your robot voice and blah, 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 and talk your story, right? Um, for Amar Rebelde, that's how to not be bitter and to still struggle. That's something hard to do. And then for Sarai's story, the only thing I'll say to her story is this phrase. She can actually say, I sing because I'm happy. I sing because I'm free.
Amen.
That's what I will say about her. And then I'll reserve my comments about Rogelio's story because his story was special to me because there was something in him that had to come out and it came out and it was beautiful to see in an ex obrera. Man, I can't wait to talk like just deep dive, everything. So everyone, thank you so much for joining us today. We love you. We appreciate your support.
We do.
And do you want to see my gift to Juan Gabriel, Tia?
Okay.
Un besito para todas las mamás en la parte de atrás.
Yes.
Samuel. Like just
Now you gotta sing with him.
No, I'm not gonna do it right now. All
We're
right,
getting
y'all have a wonderful night. See ya.
We love you guys. Besitos. We'll see you next week.